Hello, hello, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome. Dust James, Anti-imperialist America. You heard that right. Have a name change. We are no longer Dust James Weekly Assault on U.S. Empire. Going through a rebranding. We are Dust James, Anti-imperialist America. John Brown's America. The anti-war movement's America. Frederick Douglass's America. Anti-imperialist America sounds like a contradiction, but there has been a long trend towards social justice and against the evils of the banking class. This is the Whiskey Rebellion's America. This is Daniel Shay's America. Anti-imperialist America. New name of the show. Great to see you, Arctic Angel. Hello. I didn't do a lot of preparation this week. Everyone knows what's going on. George Floyd, say his name. The pigs killed him up in Indianapolis. 3 pigs were watching while one pig had his knee on his neck. Grown man saying, I can't breathe. Barely, I can't breathe for several minutes. 8 minutes with his neck, with 3 other pigs watching. Every city in America right now has a demonstration, and people are furious. I'm angry. You should be angry. They killed another one of us in cold blood. Black man killed by the pigs. Every left organization is out in mass in every major city in the United States, with the epicenter in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I know somebody from the South has a history. The South has a history of racism. A lot of Northern liberals like to blame all of Americans' racism on the South. There's a lot of bigots. There's a lot of KKK down here, but Americans' northern cities controlled by the Democrats, the left wing of the imperialist party, is just as fierce and as racist as the vilest KKK member down in the South. The inner cities and the ghettos where they have kept people in through years of exploitation of racism are aflame. This isn't new to America. This is simply being filmed, and the people are tired, and the people are outraged. Like I said, I don't have a lot prepared. A lot's been going on. Nice to see Alex Gatika and ICM 22. Daryl Mitchell, big friend of the show. Thank you, Space Communist. That's the news going on. George Floyd killed, murdered in cold blood. Videotape of it. People standing around telling him, hey, what are you doing to him? He didn't do nothing to nobody. Turns out George Floyd was at one point in his life, he was a truck driver like myself. He went through the training school. I'm not sure how long he worked for, but there was a picture going around on the internet of him going through his trucking school, and it just makes it hit home. They are murdering the working class, specifically the African American members of the working class are kept down and subjugated by the police in this country. That is the nature of the police department. I listened to a podcast, Backstory, which is a bourgeois liberal podcast, and even they admit that the police departments that formed the United States soon after the Civil War were first to put down labor unrest, and to put down riots, and to put down rebellion. That is the nature of the police force. That's why the police force was formed. That's why they're there. They may accomplish some goals of stopping stopping major personal injustices, crime, rape, robbery, and create some semblance of stability. But this is only enough stability so the capitalists keep creating their profits. If you call the police out in a working class neighborhood, don't matter if it's in the hood in the inner city or it's out in a rural area, they take forever to get there. You show up at a bank, you break a window, they're there protecting the property of the rich. That is the nature of the police. What do the police do? They tax us. They criminalize us. The 13th Amendment made it so we all have rights as citizenships. The only way to take away those rights is to criminalize us. And this has been going on for decades and decades. This is the loophole around the 13th Amendment. They over police working class communities, over police brown communities, black communities. This is how they can legally discriminate in housing, unemployment, gun rights, the right to vote. I'm furious. I'm angry. I'm tired of it. Killing a fellow worker killed in cold blood. This doesn't happen in Venezuela. In Venezuela, the police don't go around killing people in cold blood. I heard they arrested him, but they're not bringing charges up on him. And the video is obvious. This doesn't happen in Venezuela, where the police is there to keep stability for a government that is run for the benefit of the people, that invests in housing, education, healthcare, what we need in the United States, the way the world is going. But these desperate oligarchs, the banking class, the manufacturing class, the oil giants, the people that control this government, the imperialists, the Rockefellers, the managerial class, are trying to hold back history and stop us from getting it. But it's we, the people, that must overthrow their power, build workers' power, and let them know that the system cannot run if we don't have justice, if we can't live our lives, if we can have decent jobs and decent education and decent housing. In China, 90% of the people own their own houses. I've been in my career the last 7 years trying to save up enough, and I'm still having to get huge interest rates, and I'm stuck in this damn trailer. And in China, 90%, because the government puts out low interest loans for the people. I am tired of this country that not this government that controls our country and doesn't let us live in peace. Black lives matter. Workers' lives matter. Immigrants' lives matter. Angry. I salute the comrades out in the street, letting them know that this is not okay. We're tired of this. I saw reports of provocateurs. I think there was a police provocateur that blew up an AutoZone or burnt down an AutoZone. So the police can have the justification to go in and kill and tear gas and brutalize protesters that are tired of people being killed and murdered by the police. Donald Trump says send in the National Guard, acts like he's sad against the lynching of George Floyd. He doesn't give a shit about George Floyd. I think a police station was took over in Minneapolis. It's unclear. There is police provocateurs going on. Anybody there? Riots work. I'm not going to say they don't, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous for the people out there. People are just angry, and they don't. When you got nothing to lose, you feel like you ain't got nothing to lose. You are a dangerous person. And when masses of people, unemployed and tired of being killed, got nothing to lose, they overturn and overthrow whole systems. We won't know until the aftermath of what's actually happening through city across the United States. Boris M. Arcia, crazy protests are everywhere. Yes, the left is out en masse in every city in the United States, and working people, the masses are coming out. This is a time when masses are coming out. This is why we organize. This is why we need revolutionary organizations for in times like these. We can lead and push the masses and class struggle in effective ways. There are trash pope. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. Vladimir Lenin, great quote. Trash pope. Shonen Ronin, 2020 is probably centuries happening. Trash pope. Hey, hey, ho, ho. That AutoZone had to go. That may have been a police provocateur. That specific instance. I have no qualms in an AutoZone burning down. Corporate America. Corporate American terrorists who, for our basic needs, overcharge us so we get these crap these buckets of obsolete oil guzzlers down a field to get us to work, and they take. To be able to do that, we have zero public transportation. I ain't got no qualms about AutoZone going up, but it may have been a police provocateur who did that to try to justify police repression. So it's complicated. And riots do work. Like if you look what happened after they're not riots, they're revolts. This is a revolt. That is a bourgeois term. Bourgeois terms, like when they call Maduro a regime, but they call Trump an administration. In reality, it is the Trump regime and the Maduro administration. And this is a revolt. This is the Minneapolis revolt, just like the Baltimore revolts. And the Baltimore revolts had results. The Baltimore revolts had results. They put body cams. They were afraid of killing another black man, with unarmed black man, innocently. It puts them in fear to know if they fucked up, there's consequences. But at the same time, there's provocateurs trying to create antagonisms to justify police repression. It's a complicated thing. History is complicated. History continues, whether you want it or not, is guided by the material conditions, is guided by political economics. The culture is a result of a political economic system and the contradictions within it. Also, Shonen Ronin, did you see the Max Blumenthal clip confronting a group of provocateurs with one dressed as Antifa? I may have seen that. I'm not sure, but it's scary. And I remember all the way back to major political summits, GMC summits, where the United States will just put people in cars and disappear them. And there's documentation of CIA and other groups going in and just taking out leaders, FBI raids. Like, there is major repression in the United States. And after the smoke clears, we'll know more about what's going on and more about the details. Alex Garcia, it turned out they actually worked for CNN. Well, the plot thickens. I know there was a black CNN reporter who was arrested. He was I think he was the only black man in a media crew who got arrested. And his co workers thought maybe it was racial motivated. Alex Gatica, I can't answer that, but they certainly did act like police. Rory McDowell, the rest of the world is watching. We are backing you across the seas, comrade. Right on, right on. Rory, where are you coming from? Put in the comments. Daniel Smale, standing your YouTube on Jimmy Dore's live. Right, thank you. Put this out on Jimmy Dore. I'd love to go on Jimmy Dore. I'd love to go anywhere. I'm still taking email applications. My email is workingclassrevolt@gmail.com. I'm taping applications if folks want to be interviewed on the show. Right after this show, I'm going to be interviewing oh, man, Mr. Fox, Australian comrade, David Fox. I'm going to be Skype interviewing David Fox and posting that later. Should be a great conversation. You can look for that later. I'm also taking more applications. If you want to be interviewed by me, get on my channel. Maybe we can do, yes, Fox from Australia. We're going to be interviewing him. It's not going to be live. I'm going to do a Skype interview and then upload it after. It's the easiest technical way to do it. And that's going to be happening right after the show. I'm actually going to cut this show a little short. I'm ending right before 7 o'clock. I didn't have a lot of material planned for this. So I'm taking applications. If you want to be on the show, email me at workingclassrevolt at gmail.com. Jack Rabbit, are you scared of being taken away or silenced? I don't want to live in silence. Like the more people out here, the less of a, they don't have enough infrastructure to take all of us away. Just like the curve of the coronavirus. They tell us to flatten the curve. Well, the hospitals can only have this many beds. If we all meet too much and close together, the rate of infections will go too high and these people won't have hospital beds. The same thing with the rent. This is how much the police can stop us. If we don't pay our rent, we go on rent strike, goes way above it, they can't evict us all. If more people are vocal and out there in the streets, letting them know we are not okay with this, the less the repressive arm of the United States is only so big. And they can only politically do so much. So the more of us that are out there saying these things, doing these things, taking action, the less they have of a force to come down on us. Mass action. Mass media action, mass action in the street. Jack Reber, okay. Trash Pope, we are protesting in Makatawa last night. Mankato, I wonder where that is. I've got to work up on my geography. Trash Pope, it was pretty surreal. So many people come together, right on. Rory McDoug in the Caribbean. Right on. Great to have comrades in the Caribbean watching this. International solidarity. Okay. Angel from Norway. Solidarity from Norway. Right on. Trash Pope Mankato, Minnesota. Right on. Thank you. Sorry about that. Truck driver. I don't usually get off the major highways. I know the two Minneapolis and St. Paul, pretty familiar with. I don't remember Mankato. Hour and a half away. Right on, right on. Solidarity from around the world. This is a great show. Love to have people here. Like I said, I didn't prepare. I don't have any reading prepared. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm in amazement of the people rising up. There's beautiful actions I shared on my page. There was a demonstration in New York City, and there was a bus driver, and they were trying to put all the people they arrested on the bus. And the bus driver was supposed to take them to the police station, and the bus driver said no. The bus driver, just a random bus driver, doing his job, working, trying to make a living, saw that he was being part of the repressive system to put people demanding justice for a lynching, refused to take them to the police station. Act of powerful, regular, working class solidarity. So I renamed the show. The show is now Anti-Imperialist America. And I put on the background, now the new background for the show, if you look on the YouTube page, the cover photo is a picture of John Brown. You might ask, what does John Brown have to do with anti-imperialism? And it's pretty simple. It's the idea of oppressed nations. John Brown fought imperialism when he fought against slavery, because slavery was a mechanism that was keeping down an oppressed nation. Imperialism isn't a war. Imperialism is a global political economic system that keeps workers down here and keeps oppressed nations within the United States and around the world down for the profits of a few. The profits, mainly the lead profits, the managerial class, the oil and banking cartels, and secondly, the large manufacturers and the military industrial complex, prison industrial complex. Ah, I guess that will be my intro. I'll go on to a few news events. Um, it's hard to go, and it's what's going on right now with people standing up for justice for George Floyd. It's absolutely inspiring. Things are changing fast. Um, but I was planning on talking before this happened about down in South Carolina and West Columbia, the workers at the poultry plant, the chicken plant, the folks feeding us, the folks processing one of the cheapest forms of protein available to U.S. workers, chicken, were on strike because they're not giving adequate protective equipment. I noticed something in my company, my trucking company, where when we go in somewhere to other factories or we go somewhere in public, we have to maintain social distancing. Um, there's only so many people allowed to, when businesses are working with the public, there's only so many people allowed in and they take precautions. Some places require masks. But I notice for employees, it's just not the case. Like I was getting my truck worked on and I went into the lounge and there was just like 6, 7 truck drivers all sitting next to each other on the couch because we didn't have nowhere else to sit. It's a hot truck, trying to get your truck worked on. The only place to sit is this little tiny lounge. We're sitting here on top of each other in the midst of the coronavirus. And this is this is a decent company to work for. You know, I can only imagine what the conditions are in the chicken plant down in Columbia, South Carolina. Mostly African American comrades down there on strike right now, demanding. They're made to work right up on top of each other, not given gloves, not given protective equipment. It's their people in the chicken plant producing the food in this country are dying of COVID. I worked right out of high school. Right out of high school, my first job, I had an internship with local Quaker organizations, NC Choices, and American Friends Service Committee. I went to Greensboro. I did an internship to design counter recruitment material, trying to stop our brothers and sisters, neighbors, co-workers from young folks, poor folks, working folks to be sent overseas and to die for our enemies and kill brown, poor, and working people. That was my first thing out of high school. I did counter recruitment in high school, and then my first official job, actually, my first job out of high school, we worked in the chicken plant. No, I mean, I worked in Soul Food, was this internship, counter recruitment. It was kind of office work, real NGO stuff. I mean, they do great work, but I didn't really like it. But that was for the first month of my summer, right out of high school. The next part of that, I needed to get money for books to go to college. And I worked in the chicken plant on right after my 18th birthday. I went right to work in the chicken plant, and I put on the application strong and friendly, and they stuck me in the cooler. 18 years old, and there was this line where the chickens came down this big chute, and somebody had a tub. You had to fill up the tub full of chickens, and another person took that tub and started putting them on a pallet, and that pallet was stacked about 5 high. Them tubs of chicken weighed about 90 pounds. And when you got to the last layer, you had to stick that 90-pound tub of chickens above your head, one after another after another. I did that after my 18th birthday to try to get my college books. And I was paid about $9.50. I was taking home about $3.50 after a week. And the majority of my neighbors in my trailer park, I lived in a trailer park that was mostly Mexican immigrants from Guerrero, southern Mexico, the Corn Belt, people forced here when the economy was destroyed by NAFTA. So majority of my neighbors. All right, this is kind of messed up. I didn't plug my computer in. Give me one moment. All right, she's plugged in. All right, so mostly the trailer park, almost everybody, most of the people in that community were undocumented, and I worked in the same plant with them at the chicken plant. And now there's reports of people dying in that chicken plant with the COVID-19. African American immigrant workers kept side by side, not given PPE equipment. They're dying of COVID-19, and they have the risk of affecting the rest of the population. It is just for the profit of these large ag companies. These large ag companies, the same large ag companies that push for NAFTA to be passed to put people out of work in Mexico, that force them here and then exploit it in these factories when they get here, and this chicken plant right in my hometown. And I remember when I was in high school, there was organizers going door to door. They were committing wage theft against us. The chicken plant was making us put on our robes, company provided robes. They were making us put them on before we clocked in. Turns out that's wage theft. We're supposed to clock in and then get paid for putting those robes on us. So we had a class action lawsuit, and we had union organizers going trailer to trailer. It would be nice to stay in contact. Those were my first memories of people in the labor movement. Was people came to my trailer. They were going door to door in the trailer park trying to get people to sign up for the class action lawsuit to get lost stolen wages. And we won that lawsuit. A lot of people signed up, and everybody got like a check. It wasn't a lot, but it was millions for the company. They had to pay out for those workers over years, those stolen wages. They probably stole more from us, and they're stealing more every day with paying low wages. They're stealing more every day by not paying hazard pay and the COVID-19 crisis. So I'm proud to see brothers and sisters, mostly African American, leading the struggle in a strike. Believe they I don't remember which union they joined. They joined the union down there in Columbia, South Carolina. They've had a strike. I saw this on I think it's Break. I'm not sure which news shorts I saw this on, but I'm very happy to see the strike down in Columbia, South Carolina, and the chicken plant. I actually trained a dude to drive tractor trailers who worked in that chicken plant. And a lot of folks around there called it the turkey farm. And it's hard work for low pay. And that's the reality a lot of people face. Working families work their ass off for almost nothing, live in substandard housing conditions, and to go into substandard school. And we're the ones that keep this country moving. We're the people who built this country. It is we who built the wait. I'm gonna say I got to get into this. I got to sing y'all a song. Okay. Okay. I'll start over. Okay. Fuck. My mind is off today. I'm trying to think of. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshop, endless miles of railroad laid. Yet we stand outcast and starving, miss the wonders we have made. But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. Yet we stand outcast and starving, midst the wonders we have made. Old IWW song, you still sung to this day. Solidarity forever, at the end of a lot of strong democratic unions. It's the only song I really know mostly by heart. I got to start at the beginning. That's why it tripped me up for a minute. I only wanted to get that one verse out because I'm just proud of the mostly African. I'm glad to stand under the leadership, mostly African American folks, fighting to build a union and to go on strike to stop us, the working people, people of color, from dying from COVID, to produce the food, the food in this country. And I'm glad to stand behind the leadership of the African American people that are tired of being killed in the street. It only makes sense that the most oppressed amongst us will lead us. It only makes sense from scientific socialism. I think Stalin wrote, and this, I think there's a section here on dialectic materialism, plain, easy to understand language. It only makes sense scientifically. The most oppressed amongst us will lead us. It's about all I got for news. I'll go back over to some of these contests. You are right. Things are changing fast in the U.S. This is Rory McDowell. From the perspective of our little country, it seemed like a machine that would never stop. I knew that COVID hit you, it would shine a light on USA demons. Emperor has no clothes. There is a soft underbelly, and it us. We have been mistreated for too long in this country. Our wages are stagnant. And now, with the coming economic crisis, there's millions of us unemployed. Things are changing fast, and there's no better time to work to spread the message of scientific socialism and to build organization and fight for a new future. Alex, watch Anti-Conquista's new video content if you already haven't. I love Anti-Conquista's work and videos. I'll check that out. Rory McDowell, you are right. Things are changing fast from the perspective. Okay. Carla Hernandez, your thoughts on Trump revoked reservation land, trust from American Indians must be. I haven't even heard about that, but I'm angry. Carla Hernandez, that is horrible. Still breaking treaties. The U.S. is still breaking treaties with the first people, the First Nations, the Native American people. After they carry out genocide, there's large numbers of Native American people who live in horrible conditions to this day on reservations. Millionaires profit off their poverty to this day. They build pipelines through native land. Native people are exploited into this day in their jobs, and they're kept in lower material conditions. They continue to be not only the First Nations here, but an oppressed nation of U.S. empire. The harsh treatment of immigrants is a continuation of the genocide against Native people. A large portion of the Native of people dying on the border are from the poorest places in Latin America. And many of the poorest places in Latin America to this day are places they do not speak Spanish, places where they still speak indigenous languages. And those are the people who are being pushed out by the global economic system of US imperialism and kept the most poor and are forced to walk through the desert and die in the deserts and then shot on the border in the desert and then separated. Their families are separated at the border and they're sent back. And right now there's makeshift refugee camps on the border because they're not letting anyone into this country against international law. There's makeshift refugees and horrible conditions in the midst of a COVID-19 crisis. This is all a result. This is the continual genocide against the Native American people from the bottom of Chile up to the highest northern part of Canada. Indigenous people are still kept down and still murdered, and the genocide is continuing. And it's we, the American worker and the American people, that need to stand up and say, not in our name. No to the genocide of Native American people. I'm sorry, I can't read this. Neins Nincre. Hello, Dus. So nice to be here at your live stream. Well, thank you for being here. I wish I could pronounce your name. Red Dominion. Hey, everyone. What did I miss? Not much. You can go back. Your singing voice is amazing. Well, thank you. Maybe I'll sing a little more on here. MLUK, solidarity to all Americans rioting from across the pond. Right on. Solidarity, support our troops, the people on the ground and the major cities from the epicenter of the revolt, not the riot, the revolt, and Minneapolis to every major city in the United States on the ground know that they cannot continue to kill innocent people. We're tired of it and we're not taking it no more. And there's a lot of room right now for international solidarity. Unite, black and white, united against our common enemies. The class oppression and national oppression. Racism is an enemy to all working people. National oppression, black and brown workers in the United States is an enemy to all working people here. The little bit of white privilege we have, maybe we're more likely to get a job, we're less likely to get killed by the police, is nothing in comparison of the socialist world that we could be having but are losing. Because they're stealing our investment that should go in better technologies to make our lives better. The investment in our housing, education, healthcare, things we would have from a socialist system are being stolen from us. All of us. Are being stolen from all of us. It is in the class interest of the lower strata of white workers to be under the leadership of black workers and Chicano workers, Latino workers who are the hardest hit by this system. We should march under their leadership and destroy this system that's keeping all of us down. Solidarity, solidarity, solidarity. The rebirth of the exactly. Huey Newton's idea of intercommunalism is one of the most applicable and revolutionary understandings when it comes to the revolutionary movement within the United States. The Black Panthers, Huey Newton, is probably one of the best leading revolutionary organizations that has ever existed in the United States. 6:53. I have to get on and do the interview. I think I'm gonna go into my conclusion very quick. Leo Nami, be careful when you drive your rig dust. Truckers are being targeted by the rioters. Okay. I hope that don't happen to me, but if it does, I understand. I totally understand. If I see it going on, I'll honk my horn, throw up my fist. If it, chaos happens. Chaos happens in riots. You don't get to control how people show their frustration after decades and decades of oppression. You don't get to control it. You don't get to happen. It is contradictions. It's scientific socialism that leads us forward. It is a thesis that creates contradictions, creates an antithesis. The antithesis battles the thesis till it comes over it, becomes a synthesis. This is the nature of scientific socialism. This is why Iran is implementing socialist policies. This is why China is implementing a stronger socialistic policies, because it is the only material way to be stronger than the backwardsness of capitalism is to impose socialism. Iran is imposing socialistic programs, lifting people out of poverty, building their nation. This is what all the anti-imperialist nations are doing. The anti-imperialist nations are not simply allies of American workers because they are enemies of our enemy. They are our friends because they're building socialistic policies that we need here, including the Islamic Republic, the popular Islamic Revolution in Iran, the People's Republic of China, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and Venezuela, Nicaragua. I ran over a good country song. One of my favorite country singers, Chris Christopherson, sung a song. Chris Christopherson, amazing country singer, anti-war Vietnam veteran, did a whole 180 and joined the side of the oppressed nations. And he had a song called Sandinista, and I think the line was, Sandinista, you can lift your head up high. You have, I don't remember the song, but Sandinista by Chris Christopherson, great song. I think I'm going to end it. Short video today. Thanks everybody for coming on. All power to the people. Thank you.